So I text you the question, hey, what are you passionate about right now? And you said, what was it? Helping people with finances.
Yes.
All right. So tell me, why are you on that kick now? And I don't mean to say kick in a derogatory way,
No, it's a kick.
but
That's the wording I used.
okay, that's fair. So why are you on that kick now? Yeah, like kind of where did it start? Where did this rabbit
Well,
hole start?
yeah. So I watch a guy on YouTube, um, and that's what he does. It's called Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer,
Okay,
and essentially people come onto a show voluntarily. He doesn't make them come onto a show. They voluntarily sign up to do it. And what he does is basically he's a huge like mental health guy. Like he believes that mental health is like where it all starts,
sure.
essentially. So what he does is he'll tell people like, if you come on the show, I'm gonna tear into you a little bit. But he's doing it for the betterment of them, because these people aren't like, we're really struggling. These people are insane spending habits type people.
Okay, the victim a little bit.
A little bit, and they know it. That's why they choose to come onto the
Sure.
show. So
Yeah.
they just need some people. Just need some people to tell them
Man,
what they're doing wrong in life.
self awareness is such an underrated trait.
Yeah, yeah, and not a lot of people have it in today's world.
No, and like sometimes it's funny,
Hmm.
but other times it's really
Sad
yeah, like and frustrating because
for others.
it stands in the way of some people, just being awesome, good people.
For sure.
So, but go ahead,
But
yeah, keep going.
yeah, so the more I thought about it, the only person you ever hear of when you think who's gonna fix my finances, like I don't know about you, that maybe this is just me. The first person that comes to mind is Dave
Dave
Ramsey.
Ramsey,
Yeah,
yeah, I knew it.
yeah,
Yep,
Dave Ramsey.
yep, that's the dude.
And don't get me wrong, I think Dave Ramsey has helped a lot of people. I think he's super beneficial. But one thing that I really hit on is it shouldn't take 4 years of your life, a college degree, multiple certificates, and maybe an accounting class to understand your personal finances.
Yeah,
That's what I've noticed. It's a trend. Like all these people that are helping are like, well, I'm certified, blah blah blah, and I'm a financial planner. That is awesome. They probably know, different services that are offered and classes and courses that can help you out. But you should not have to be a genius to understand your own personal finances.
I 100% agree.
So, with that being said, I am working on getting my financial planning or financial coach certificate
Cool.
without going to school. And that's literally what I want to do. I don't want to charge anyone a crazy fee. I want to be able to, and this is a hard thing to ask of somebody, but I think that someone who can really use the help or just wants to help, a friend out or something like that, um, I just want to have a sit down conversation, record it. I'm not gonna, be a douche to them or anything. I just want
Right.
to understand where their head's at and
Sure.
kind of what they were thinking, and while making these decisions, and help people budget, help people build them a budget that they can follow, an exact step by step plan to get out of where they are,
Sure.
and then help them kind of dictate their lives a little bit better. Because when you're in extreme amounts the reason that I got into this at one point in time, which I'm not gonna hype up my situation by any means because mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But at one point in time, I had pretty insane credit card debt, a firm. I have car payment and a mortgage now.
Sure.
So like,
Yeah.
I was in the dumps for a little bit there, but I started my videography business, and I now have no debt. Like I figured
That's
it out.
awesome.
Well, that's not true. I guess I still have a mortgage and a little bit of a car loan, but
Sure,
other
but
than that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, no consumer debt other than the car. So the car will probably be paid off by the end of this year, and then other than that, I'm debt free besides a mortgage, which is an asset, so I guess it's technically doesn't count towards bad debt.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I
no, I want to help people, man.
Yeah, and that's like from the very beginning of you and I just kind of doing things together. That's what it's been about. Is like how can I better somebody else's scenario or situation?
And it's
Um,
without being a Mr. Beast. Like I can
sure.
financially help someone without me giving them thousands of dollars. I can give them the information that they need, the exact plan that they need
Yeah,
to,
and there's my cat jumping up on my back of my chair. Um, and you're also giving them time though, which is, I mean, depending on who you ask, obviously that's a very subjective value, but your time is incredibly valuable as well. So
for sure. Yeah, people underestimate like even the littlest amount of debt. It's insane to me how much it can hold you back, and
yeah,
people don't realize it because it's like it's so normalized nowadays. Like, oh yeah, I have a credit card, I just make monthly payments on, which is fine in
yeah,
most cases. That's fine, but if you want to attack it and you want to have expendable income each month and an emergency fund, like having an emergency fund is huge. I finally built mine.
hmm
It's 3 to 6 months worth of income, so that way if anything happens, you lose your job or quit your job. Um,
sure,
it's a
you're
very
covered.
good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and people just don't have that, and that's
yeah,
fine because again, it's not normalized. No one tells you to have an emergency fund. You just know you should,
right.
and until you figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's like. I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but like you pay for insurance because you like something could happen,
For sure. Yeah,
and so yeah, being able to have that
and it's
peace of mind.
Dustin. It's such an easy process, dude. Like people just I if people were more open about their finances, I think that's one of the biggest issues we have is that people are so scared of their financial situations and think that like
People are gonna judge them.
people are going to judge them. And
Yes.
if people were just way more open about it, you could fix it
Yeah.
100%, but you got to be willing to, and that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, that's like going to the doctor because your knee hurts and then not telling them about it.
I kind of do that, so
Well, I mean, but it's the same thing. You
it
know,
is,
it's
it is, it is.
if you're not going to tell somebody else what the issue is, or if you even have an issue, how do you expect somebody to fix it?
For sure. And the thing is, you shouldn't. I guess that's bad wording, but like when I want to help someone, they don't expect me to fix it. A lot of the times, I'd say probably 9 out of 10 times, somebody just needs to tell you what to do.
Sure.
Because like that's me in general in life. I sometimes I just need someone to tell me what I need to do. I don't want to try to figure it out. I want to somebody tell me and I'll figure it out from there. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want that for my entire and like the entirety of my life. I don't want to be told what to do. But like a good example would be like, hey, how do I start a business? Like you want someone to tell you that's done it before, step
Yeah.
by step, what you need to do. So I
Yeah,
think it's
because
kind of
obviously, if they've done it, then they've got success in doing it.
for sure. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that's
makes
kind
a
of
lot of
what my
sense.
take's been. I want to help people, and I think that that's kind of a lost thing in that nowadays people normalize auto loans, car loans, uh,
Yeah,
credit
dude,
cards.
we live now. We're in the TikTok era, and or guess maybe probably more aptly called the social media era, where you've got to be 5 stars leaving the house.
For sure.
Anything less is not accepted.
It's insane. I almost got to a point where because I was a 20-year-old. I bought a Tesla,
Yeah,
sweet car.
yeah,
Still
absolutely.
love it to this day. Saved a good amount of money on gas, but like at that time, if I would have been on this kick, I would have bought a 2006 Chevy Impala probably.
Yep.
I That's just a smart thing to do, and that's what people should do. Um,
Yeah, buy a
but
nice
dude,
solid car that'll get you like 400,000 miles as long as you
yeah,
change the oil on it.
yes, and people are just so caught up in this mindset that like I want to have the nicest car. I got to when I go out. And it's also a little bit of a trap that we put ourselves into because it's like, oh, well, if I buy this new car, I want it to, maintenance and all that. And it's like, even if you do the math, I work in insurance. I see the back end of what cars are breaking down all the time. I see the back end
Hmm
of, what cars are struggling or not getting good payouts on their loan, stuff like that. It doesn't even it's not even close. Like a used car that you take well or good care of, and versus a new car, maintenance costs compared to how much your insurance is, car payment, oil changes, new tires, stuff like that. A used car is just 100% cheaper.
Yeah, that makes sense too. And again, coming from someone who is in the industry that knows, like, yeah, if you spend $50,000 on this car, it's gonna look really sweet and probably not gonna break down for like a month. But like after that, if you have a Lamborghini that doesn't run, then my '93 Miata, I don't own, is way better than your Lamborghini. So
Yeah, I completely agree. And like
I
I
think.
said, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna
No, you
say,
didn't
like,
interrupt at all.
I think that is awesome, and also something that I am passionate about myself. In my my small stint of teaching, I realized how little the high school students that I was teaching, most of them being freshmen, but how little they knew about finances. Or now I understand they're just freshmen, but like they should have a common idea. Like they should understand how
Listen, I didn't know how to write
some
a
things
check
work.
when I
Yeah,
got out of high school.
I was
That's
teaching that.
crazy.
I was teaching that to freshmen. I hope that schools are taking the conversation around credit score incredibly serious, because that will, I mean, that has haunted me my entire adult life.
And it does most people.
And then the reason I know it's the entirety of my adult life is if we just call my adult life post high school.
Hmm.
I signed up for a credit card, of course, my
Yep.
freshman year at college, and racked up the bill at Christmas time. Christmas was
Oh,
awesome for everybody.
yep.
And then it just followed me because I was this young, stupid kid that never really had the financial side of things taught to me. And I just, there was a lot of things I missed out on as a kid, and I just didn't know any better. And
And you wouldn't
it
know
was
it.
stupid. And then I just kept going, like signed up for cell phones so I can get a new cell phone, and not have to buy one. And then eventually I can't pay the bill, it gets shut off, whatever. So I
Yep.
think it's awesome. I think what you're doing is great, and
Yeah.
I would love to maybe in the future record some around like specific ideas
That'd be sick. Yeah, I would totally
for
do that.
people. I think that'd be, because that is not a local, that's not a local thing. That is a life thing.
Yeah, it's not something that I have to just do around here. I think everyone needs it bad. I
Yeah.
think small town too. It's a bad thing. It's a very bad thing because you're so influenced by what other people that you personally have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And small
it's
towns are most of the time living impoverished already.
yeah bad.
And so it just keeps piling on, and then you get this insurmountable, or what seems to be insurmountable, weight of debt in all these different avenues. And it's like, and I'm speaking from experience. And so what I think is going to happen is that as you and I record, I will take these disciplines and apply them to me and my wife and come back with the results, because yeah, I too could benefit from something like this, and I think it's incredibly valuable.
For sure. And like, dude, so it's hard for that's one thing that whenever you teach something, you want to have experience in it. Bad credit score. I came out of high school, I was super careful about that. Like I knew my family had a history of bad credit, and like as soon as I came out of high school, I made sure like I wanted to have untouchable credit.
Yeah,
Um, so it's hard for me to say like, oh, I know the grind of coming from bad credit, and if I can do it, you can do it too. I can't say that, but I do get it. Like I said, my whole family has had bad credit in the past, but they found a path, they dug themselves out of it, and that's something that you can definitely work on. And there's so many things you can do to help out your credit score. It's actually nuts, and I
yeah.
would love to be able to teach that a little bit, but
All right, so maybe we shelf that, some of those early things, and we record another one. Or we can do it right after this recording if we've got time.
for sure, whatever works best for you. I'm
So, so yeah, then on the other end, you had asked me the same question, what are you passionate about? And lately and maybe not even lately, I would say in the last 5 years, leadership and mentorship has been at the tip top of my heart and my mind. Whether it be seeing awesome leaders, and just being inspired by them and how they interact with other people, or seeing poor leaders and clearly understanding what not to do, if you're going to be a good leader. And one of the things that I also think about is, like how am I doing as a father as far as setting a good example for my kids. And one of the things that I've been bad at perpetuating is the hostility towards elementary and middle school and high school athletics.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of crap that referees take
It's insane.
is mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, come on. Now it's and again, I have been guilty of this as well. So I'm not trying to set myself in paint myself as this perfect person, because I have not been great at it as most recently as my oldest daughter's basketball season.
Yeah.
So every athletic event, it seems like the hostility that refs take now feels much more personal. Like it's like they're trying to like dig at you, like make sure that that you screwed up that call and that you're wrong.
It's insane.
And I just really feel for referees right now,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a thankless position to be in.
Well, it's a volunteer position to be in.
In some spots,
that?
but like high school athletics, don't they get paid?
So they do get paid. I almost signed up to be a ref, so I get
Oh,
it.
okay,
Yeah,
very cool. I
you
love
do
the
get
insight.
paid. Yeah, you do get paid. You have to take a test through the IHSA website. You have to buy your uniform and stuff like that. But you do get paid per game. The pay is not bad at all. Actually, it's fairly good.
Yeah,
But then again, these people are, most of the time, I won't say all of them. A lot of the rest that I know, they're selflessly taking time out of their week to do that.
absolutely.
Even though it's a little, like, some people, some of the refs that I know, they realistically probably don't even need the money. They just do it because they enjoy the sport, they want to help out, and they need more refs constantly.
Sure.
So for people to just dog on them the way that they do in the middle of a match just because they made a bad call, like, hey,
Yeah.
my daughter lost her basketball game by 2 points and it's your fault.
Yeah.
First off, they shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with if they were
Sure.
decent, right?
Yeah. You make.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. You can always make the other side of the argument for sure.
for sure. So it's insane to me that people do that. So my question to you would be, are you wanting to do something to change that? Are you trying to bring awareness? Like, what's your
I would love for people to listen to this and just, look in the mirror and ask yourself if you've done the same thing. I absolutely have. And in my newly found faith in God and in Christianity,
Mhm.
if I've learned anything, it's that we're supposed to lead by example. If we get what is it? You get smacked in the face, you turn the other cheek.
turn the cheek?
And I've always been in love with the saying of look in the mirror, not out the window.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I'm not trying to just be hyperbolic about it, but I genuinely try to set a good example for my kids, because honestly, I don't remember a lot of conversations or examples that like really stood out that my mother and my father did. Not to say that they didn't, but I don't have memories of those. But what I do have memories of are these sitcoms of the 90s, these perfect families, whether it be Family Matters or Full House or whatever. They'll have these scenarios that are just like real life scenarios, but obviously it would never play out perfectly like it does in a sitcom. Um, I've seen the examples of like, if this is the scenario, how did they handle it? How did Uncle Phil handle it with Will?
Hmm.
And I use those as examples with my kids. And so one of those things, again, is looking in the mirror and being able to admit that maybe I was wrong.
Yeah,
And I mean, clearly I knew I was wrong in the moment, but I was heated. And but I just, yeah, I think that we as parents could maybe do a better job. I'm not saying that parents are bad parents because of this, but if you're a parent and you don't hear this and you don't at least think about like, could I be doing something better? Um, then I would say that maybe priorities are just a little mixed up.
gotcha.
Every parent wants to be better, right?
For sure. In some way, yeah.
Yeah, I know you got better, whatever that might mean, but like no parent wants to be worse. Like they
Oh
want
no,
to do the absolute best for their kids.
hmm,
And one of those things is looking in the mirror and not out the window.
for sure.
And it's just really been on my heart and it's really been on my mind lately. And yeah, I just think sometimes we need somebody to remind us that we're not infallible and that sometimes we're um, jackasses
Facts. Yep.
and egomaniacs. Like the reason we're getting heated at these athletic events, or at least some of the reason, is because we're living vicariously through our children. We want our children to be the
Best.
best at everything. And that's just not realistic. And it's not realistic to expect men and women to ref these games and never make a mistake.
I completely agree. I mean, no matter, and this goes for all aspects of life. Like I work in insurance, so I had to do plenty of tests and licensing. And no matter what, at the end of the day, like you can learn as much as you want. You can know it hand by hand, rule by rule. You're gonna, you're a human. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make bad calls. You're gonna do something you probably shouldn't have on accident. You got to go back and you fix it. When it comes to your situation that you're referring to, refing, sometimes you can't go back and fix it. Sometimes it was a bad call. You know it was a bad call, but you made the call and you got to live with it. But you don't have to live with the fact that people are going after you the way
Oh
that they
man,
do.
yeah.
It's tearing into you for
And
no reason.
and I have been one of the worst. Again, I will admit that I've been pretty heated, especially at the end of the season there. I am not proud of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm proud of the idea that I can look back at it and say, stop acting like a dick.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
And
think
so
going forward, that's like going to be like your mindset now when you go to game?
absolutely, and it's something that I've had to um, like really think of as I'm going into the game. I have to visualize the game and tell myself like, hey, this is just a game. Your child is going to succeed and fail regardless of your actions sometimes. So let's sit back and enjoy the view and cheer her on. And so like I have to like tell myself that as we're going into athletic events now or any event, um, that hey, I'm here to watch her succeed.
Yeah.
Whether that's being a good volleyball player or a good mentor, leader, whatever that is, I'm here to watch her be awesome.
Yeah.
And um, I can't interfere with those memories with my own selfishness. I mean, think about it. Like if she were to get older and she remembers all these athletic events, but the things that stick out for her are the times that I blew up and I hollered something or whatever.
Hmm.
That's not fair at all.
No. No.
Because
And
I,
and going into high school, you want them to come to your games, but as a high schooler who experienced that at a young age, when I was in high school, I was like, nah, you guys don't have to come to my game.
yeah,
Like
hmm,
not because you don't want them to be there, but because you don't
absolutely,
want
I
to
get
choose
it.
to.
Like I always said when I was going to be before we had children, I always said that when I was a dad, I would be that one dad that like the teacher's like, wait, who's your dad? And then they would tell them, and then the teacher or the adult would say, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh no.
But like, I wanted to
good
be
way?
like, yeah, I wanted it to be in a good way. And I certainly don't want it to be like, oh yeah, that guy. I can't, you know, ugh. I don't ever want to be that guy.
I get that.
So
Yeah.
again, I don't need to be great at everything, but I can be less insignificant. I don't know, I just really like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things in the cosmos, are we significant? No. Not a one of us. Some of us are less insignificant than others, though.